and welcome to Unit 7, Part 2, Revolutions. And really this is just a continuation of the last unit. And we're going to talk about revolutions not just in England, but in North America, in Latin America, and in France. And if you can see the picture in the background, this is okay. So there are two elements in this standard, 14b and 14c. And 14b is all about the revolutions. And 14c talks about Napoleon and his rise to power and how he's defeated. So just in this small segment, we're just going to talk about two of the revolutions, England and then the one in the United States. Okay, so it just says identify the causes and the results of the revolution. So nobody's asking you to analyze or explain or describe. Just be able to list what the causes were of those revolutions. Why did they occur? All right. So the revolution in England is going to have started in 1689. And so this revolution in England is going to be caused by several things. Okay, the first one is going to be there's a disagreement between Protestant people and the Catholic kings. Remember we talked about this a while back with King Henry VIII and his daughter Mary, and then he had a son named James, and then Elizabeth. And remember, Mary was Catholic and Elizabeth was Protestant. And then when Elizabeth took the throne, she created the Anglican Church so that Protestants could practice free from persecution. All right. This is not the same Mary that we're going to be talking about in this slide. This is much later. But there's a disagreement between Protestants and Catholics. The Catholics are the rulers, and then the Protestant people. And the Catholic kings want the Catholics to worship and no Protestants. And remember, keep in mind in your notes, the yellow is what you write down, the pink is your vocabulary, or the purple, okay? Because England is struggling financially, you'll see King James and King Charles will raise the taxes. And of course, nobody's happy about taxes being raised. Nobody's happy about taxes, period, but it's a necessity. All right? And then you will see that Parliament is your governing body. That's the one who will rise to authority, and it'll be run by the people. Because they're so upset with the kings, they're going to force the king to sign a petition of right, which will take away a lot of the king's power and allow Congress to make, Parliament to make the decisions and pass the laws. And because the king is going to go against what Parliament says, then a civil war is going to break out. So the causes for the revolution in England is that your Catholic kings don't want the Protestant people to worship. The Catholic kings will raise taxes. Parliament will be upset with the kings, and then civil war is going to break out. And then you're going to have what's called the Glorious Revolution. And that's where the Mary, the child of the king, Parliament will ask her to take over and invite her husband, the Duke of Orange, to come in with his army and to take over England. And it's a glorious revolution. There is no bloodshed. Nobody dies because of the revolution. Nobody's killed in battle. It doesn't work that way. The king is just forced out. Mary and her husband take over, and they sign a document that allows Parliament to make most of those decisions. And then what you will see happen is, as a result of this revolution, Parliament will get William and Mary to sign the English Bill of Rights. This will protect people's rights and their freedom to speech. And because Parliament allowed William and Mary to take over, they're willing to do a lot that Parliament asks because they're kind of the ones that put them there. Okay, so that's the revolution in England. It's pretty short and sweet. Okay, and then the second revolution we're going to look at is the revolution in on the North American continent. And this is going to be 1776. Again, I give you dates as a point of reference. The English Revolution took place in the 1680s. This is a little less than 100 years later. Okay, again, we're still in the 1700s. Ideas of enlightenment are starting to spread across the globe. Okay, people are starting to rise up against their oppressive governments and recognize that they have rights that the government should be protecting. Okay, the American Revolution is fought between the British and the colonists. Something that you kind of need to know. The causes, well, the main cause is that Britain is abusing their colonists in North America. Okay, they're raising taxes, they're denying rights or limiting severely the rights of the colonists. The colonists fought on the British side during the French and Indian War, which, they did a great job for Britain, but then Britain didn't appreciate them nearly as much. And because of the French and Indian War, Great Britain, kind of bankrupted themselves and so forced their colonists to pay that debt. And so the colonists get angry. The British send their troops over to the colonies and occupy the colonists' land, close the harbor so they can't trade with other countries, and then suspend their own government. So, the main cause is Britain is abusing the colonies in North America. They're treating them as petulant children and kind of abusing their control over them. The outcome of that revolution is going to be that the colonists are going to write the Declaration of Independence and formally free themselves from Great Britain. And they're going to create their own federal government. And they're going to use the ideas of Locke and Montesquieu and Voltaire and Rousseau to kind of create their own government. Okay?